Is that 2.1 billion Madoff style clawback? Who knows? But if I get on that credit committee, I'll be one of the guys doing the clawing. So I'm looking forward to that, because I think at the end of the day, every shareholder and account holder has to have an answer to what happened here. I normally would have written this off like the other 8 venture investments, but not this one. I'm staying on this one right to the end. I'm going to teach this course at Harvard one day in my guest lecturing. This is going to be a case. This will be a chestnut.
You mean chess, right, Kevin?
This is going to be a case. This will be a chestnut. This is an extraordinary situation, right?
I know that the rest of us are all playing checkers while Kevin is apparently playing chestnut. Extraordinator. Say what you will about Kevin Oleary, but he is a very articulate guy. And the fact that he's stumbling like this tells me that he's feeling the stress. He's running around and basically campaigning around for a position on the creditor committee. And this is something that's interesting to me because it's clearly a conflict of interest. But it seems like every other interview, he's talking about that he wants to be on that creditor committee because he wants to claw back and he wants to get back all that money, all those ill-gotten gains that FTX got and then went ahead and spent somewhere, which is really, really rich given the fact that Kevin Oleary received $15 million to be a paid spokesperson for FTX. This kind of feels like a bank robber who goes back to the crime scene to be like, hey, does anyone need any help? Maybe I can assist in the investigation somehow. Wow, I can't believe this happened. This is crazy. Yeah, we should do something about that. Something smells funny, and maybe it's just the roasting of a shark, but something is a little bit off here. Kevin Oleary clearly has a special relationship with SBF. He likely has a special relationship with parents of SBF. A lot of times he was saying that, hey, because they're compliance lawyers, he was really, really comfortable in investing in FTX because Sam Bankman-Fried's an American, his parents are compliance lawyers, and all that jazz. And it seems like whenever he wanted to, he could get SBF on the phone. I think that he's not going to be someone that's objective on the creditor committee. And also, I am going to dive deep into an article and explain exactly what a creditor committee is, what it does, and how it pertains to this whole FTX debacle. And I also think that it's absolutely hilarious and the hubris on this guy to go ahead and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to one day teach a course at Harvard about what's going on right now. What is he talking about? Is this going to be after a due diligence course that he teaches? I would love to be a fly on the wall when Professor Oleary is teaching due diligence 101 at Harvard. He's going to be like, all right, these 3 things need to occur for you to invest in a company. The first of which is a fat check for $15 million. The second, make sure that it's an American company. And the third is that the parents of the CEO are compliance lawyers. Then you're good. Nothing can go wrong. Good luck in the real world. Personally, I feel that Kevin would be derelict in his duties on the creditor committee, but let's dive in so that we understand exactly what a creditor committee is, what it does, and how it relates to FTX. So according to this CNBC article, a creditor committee is a group of creditors appointed to represent all creditors' interests in a bankruptcy or insolvency proceeding. And for those that don't know, a creditor is basically any individual or company to whom money is owed, and in this case, obviously, to whom money is owed from FTX. The creditor committee has the authority to investigate the financial affairs of the company, participate in negotiations with the company and its management, and present a plan for resolution to the creditors for approval. The specific role and responsibilities of the creditor committee may vary depending on the jurisdiction and the specific circumstances of the bankruptcy or insolvency proceedings. On December 15th, the US Trustee set up a creditor committee to represent the unsecured creditors, including close to 1 million individual investors who lost their funds due to the meltdown of FTX. Important to note here is that they mentioned just investors, and I'm sure those that gave loans, but certainly not FTX sponsors, which Kevin Oleary was as well. The U.S. Trustee is an office belonging to the Justice Department, and its primary objective is to represent represent the U.S. government in such bankruptcy proceedings. The representatives mentioned how challenging it was to create this committee given the international status of the FTX client base. In the end, the US Trustee set up a 9-member committee that includes crypto-related firms such as Coincidental Capital, Wintermute Asia, Pulsar Global, and CGC International. It also includes individual investors. As reported by the Wall Street Journal on December 21st, the 9-member Creditor Committee has also appointed Paul Hastings as their legal advisor and representative during the ongoing case hearings. Now, the crazy thing is, all these lawyers and law firms that are involved in bankruptcy proceedings like this, they make all the money. They charge upwards of $1,000 per hour, and they charge for a hell of a lot of hours. So it's really unfortunate because you would think that a lot of the creditors that do deserve it, so a lot of the investors, a lot of the people that simply just had accounts with FTX are going to get the bulk of the money, but I believe the bulk of the money it's going to go to these proceedings, to legal fees, to a lot of the bureaucratic process, some of which is necessary and some in my opinion is unnecessary. The law firm was approached on the same day as Gary Wang, the co-founder of FTX, and Caroline Ellison, the ex-CEO of the Alameda Research Group, pleaded guilty to the charges of fraud brought against them by the federal judge. And it also sounds like they have flipped and they're going to give some information, and that'll be really, really interesting to see what comes of that. Established in 1951, Paul Hastings is an international law firm with offices in the US, Europe, Asia, and Latin America. Of course, such a firm will command a steep fee. Fortunately, FTX will be responsible for covering the legal bills of the bankruptcy proceedings affecting customers. Question: will FTX customers get their money back? Answer: will FTX be made whole? That's the million-dollar question. Generally speaking, unsecured creditors are usually the last to be paid in a bankruptcy proceeding. Fortunately, FTX has plenty of business units, such as Embed Financial Technologies, FTX Europe, LedgerX, and FTX Japan, that can also be sold to raise funds. Further, it is reported that FTX has already received $6.6 million that it had doled out to third party as grants or donations before its bankruptcy. Although this amount is nothing compared to the total amount the exchange owes its clients, it's a step in the right direction. According to Louis Abbott, a partner of the UK-based law firm Keystone Law, there is a possibility that FTX can return the money to its creditors if it can get back the donations and grants made to several companies and election campaigns. And hopefully this includes Kevin O'Leary's fat $15 million check for promoting FTX, which he is still honoring because he's clearly standing up for SBF and FTX. Conclusion: Sam Bankman-Fried has recently been released from the custody of the FBI on a $250 million bond and sent back to live with his parents. His parents actually put up their house to make this $250 million bond, which just goes to exacerbate the amount of hate that SBF is getting. Also, we don't know what involvement the parents have. I mean, Kevin O'Leary keeps saying that they are compliance lawyers, and one of the reasons he was so comfortable making the investment without apparently doing any DD is because the parents were compliance lawyers, so he felt really safe doing it. Although I went and dug in because I was trying to research, are they really compliance lawyers? And I've actually not been able to corroborate that as evidence that they were actual compliance lawyers, but a video for another time. If he is convicted, the numerous charges he is facing, he could be looking at a jail time of 115 years. However, most investors will only feel that justice has been served once they are made whole. But whether that happens and how long it will take, only time will tell. And over here we have a chart of Kevin O'Leary's reputation that seems to be directly correlated with FTX token FTT. Interesting stuff. So I've kind of given you my take on the whole situation, but I want to hear from you guys. Do you think that the intentions of Kevin O'Leary is pure for him going ahead on every single interview and claiming that he needs to be on the creditor committee and he's going to help with the clawback and basically going out there like a politician and campaigning for a position on this committee? Is he just a mega investor, a venture capitalist who got a little bit too full of himself and neglected DD because he was forced to turn a blind eye to it because he got a $15 million check, and it's not really his money. He went ahead and from that sponsorship money, he went and invested in FTX, and now he's kind of embarrassed because he got caught up in the whole Ponzi scheme, and rather than going ahead and apologizing because that's not his style, I mean, he built a reputation on being a shark, a callous, rude businessman who can go ahead and rise to the top, and he plays this character, and he might be that guy in real life as well. And so it's interesting to see if he actually has good intentions here, where he says, okay, I got squashed, but I'm going to try to save my reputation and come out on top because I will put in some gritty work into this committee, and I'm going to go ahead and help a lot of innocent people get their money back. Or does he want to be on there to control things a bit, to manipulate a bit, to throw the scent off the trail? Maybe he is more involved in this than meets the eye. Who knows? I mean, this story will play out with time. I am very, very interested to see how this turns out. I want to hear from you guys what your opinion is on Kevin O'Leary, on the Creditor Committee, and how you think this will all pan out. And what do you think is going to happen to Sam Bankman-Fried? I mean, is he going to go to jail for like a 120-year sentence? Or do you think he's going to get some slaps on the wrist and tremendous amount of fines and just a couple of years in jail? Let me know. I'm going to cover this story and follow this story very, very carefully and bring you all the entertainment, all the exciting news and updates, and I will see you all in the next video.